Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to write a cold email subject line that actually gets opened with some real examples. So, the most ignored part of cold email. Most people spend hours writing the perfect cold email. They agonize over the opening line, the offer, the CTA, and the PS. They send it to hundreds of prospects, but nobody opens it. The subject line decides whether your email gets read. If the subject line doesn't work, the copy doesn't matter, the offer doesn't matter, and the infrastructure you spent weeks setting up doesn't matter either. This doc covers exactly what makes cold email subject lines work, what kills them, the specific subject lines I've used in my own campaigns, and the principles behind why they performed the way they did. This is part of an ongoing series where I'm documenting my cold email campaigns in real time. If you haven't watched the previous videos yet, start from the beginning. The infrastructure setup, the deliverability guide, and the 22% reply rate breakdown all provide the foundation this builds on. So my name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. I document everything I do in real time, the campaigns, the copy, and the results. What you'll find in this doc is based on what I've actually sent, not some practice theory from someone who hasn't run a campaign recently. So what a subject line actually does. The subject line has one job: not to sell, not to explain your offer, not to impress anyone. Its only job is to get the email opened. That's it. If someone opens your email, the subject line worked. If they don't, nothing else matters. Every word, every formatting choice, every length decision should be evaluated through that single lens. Does this make someone more or less likely to open the email? The problem is that most people approach subject lines the way they approach headlines. They try to be clever, compelling, or benefit-led. They write subject lines that look like marketing copy, and that is exactly what kills them. Your prospect gets dozens of cold emails a day. They've developed a pattern matching filter for anything that looks like a sales email. If your subject line triggers that filter, it's over before they even open it. The three things inbox providers and humans both check. Before a subject line can do its job, it has to pass two filters: the spam filter and the human filter. The spam filter. Inbox providers scan subject lines the way they scan email bodies. Certain words, characters, and patterns are associated with spam and trigger automatic filtering. A subject line that gets caught here never reaches the human filter at all. So, subject line spam triggers to avoid: all caps or excessive capitalization, multiple exclamation marks, dollar signs and percentage symbols used in a sales context, words like free, win, guaranteed, no cost, limited time, and urgent, clickbait style questions designed to create false urgency, and emojis in the B2B cold outreach context. So, the human filter. If the spam filter passes it, a real person now decides in about 2 seconds whether to open or delete. They're not reading carefully, they're scanning. Their brain is doing one rapid pattern match. Does this look like it came from a real person, or does it look like a marketing email? Anything that looks like marketing copy goes straight to delete. Anything that looks like a genuine email from a colleague or someone who knows them gets opened. Sender recognition. The third factor often gets overlooked. It's the sender name. Your name appears right next to the personal line. Dominic Schwantes reads differently to Workflows team or info@workflows.com. Personal sender names dramatically outperform company names or generic aliases in cold outreach. Always send from a real person's name, never from a company name or role title. 2 filters, 2 seconds. Spam filter first, then the human. Your subject line needs to pass both before a single word of your email gets read. The 5 types of subject lines that work in cold email. Type 1, the direct question. Short, personal, and it looks like it came from a real person who wants a straight answer. Some examples are quick question name, quick question first name dash quick question, worth a chat, and open to connecting. Why this works. A question creates an open loop. The brain wants to close it. A subject line that reads quick question is genuinely ambiguous. It could be from anybody about anything. The only way to resolve the ambiguity is to open the email. There's no sales language anywhere in it. It passes both the spam filter and the human filter cleanly. The personalized versions, such as adding the first name, perform slightly better than the non-personalized ones, because they signal that this email was written specifically for the recipient and not blasted to some generic list. Quick question is the single highest performing subject line category in B2B cold email. It's been that way for years, and it still works because it looks exactly like what a colleague or contact would send. Type 2, the relevance reference. Reference is something specific about the prospect, their company, or their industry. Signals you did your homework and that this isn't a template blast. For example, saw company name on LinkedIn, or replying to company's name hiring activity, or first name found you while researching industry firms in blank state and came across company name. Now, I wouldn't do number 3 in the subject line just because that's what we usually put in one of the first sentences of our main copy, which we'll get to in another video. So why this works. Specificity is disarming. When someone sees their company name or a reference to something specific about them in a subject line, the immediate reaction is curiosity rather than dismissal. It doesn't look like spam because spam is generic. This looks like someone who actually found you. The key is keeping it neutral and observational rather than flattery or salesy. Saw a company name on LinkedIn, for example, is neutral. Type 3, the mutual context line. Creates a sense of shared ground or familiar context without being dishonest about it. For example, staffing firms in blank state, staffing firms in state, or following up on something, intro, or connecting. Why it works. Reply in a subject line signals a reply thread, which makes the email feel like a continuation of an existing conversation rather than a cold email. It's one of the highest open rate subject line prefixes in cold email, but use it carefully. It should be used for follow-up sequences where there generally was a prior email, not as a deceptive opener on a first touch basis. Intro or connecting work because they're low commitment, neutral, and completely non-salesy. They don't promise anything, they don't create urgency, they just signal a person wants to make contact. Type 4, the blank subject line. No subject line at all, and why this works. A blank subject line is jarring in a full inbox. It stands out immediately because it looks like an email someone forgot to title before sending, which is exactly what a real personal email sometimes looks like. It's unusual enough to generate curiosity without triggering any spam filters. Blank subject lines work best on follow-up emails in a sequence, not on first touch outreach. If you go back to one of the earlier videos that we looked at the 22% positive reply rate campaign, that follow-up email didn't have a subject line for this very reason. So in SmartLead, you can set a follow-up email to send in the same thread with no new subject line, which is the ideal use case. Type 5, the A/B test approach. Instead of committing to one subject line, run two variants simultaneously and let the data tell you which performs better. In SmartLead, you can A/B test subject lines at the campaign level. Set two versions, split your list, and monitor reply rates over the first 500 to 1,000 sends. The winner carries the rest of the campaign. Subject lines that I A/B tested in my first campaign. Version A was quick question first name, and version B was first name dash quick question. Both performed well, but the capitalized version B had a marginally higher open rate, likely because the capitalization of quick question made it look slightly more like a formal but personal email from a real contact. A/B testing removes the guesswork. You're not betting the entire campaign on your instinct. You run both, you see what works, and you double down on the winner. So the 5 subject line mistakes that kill open rates. Mistake number 1, making it sound like a marketing email. Unlock more revenue with AI-powered lead generation is not a cold email subject line you want to use. It's a headline article. The moment a prospect's brain categorizes an email as marketing content, it gets deleted. Cold email subject lines should look like they came from a person, not a brand. The moment they look like a campaign, they're dead. Mistake number 2, trying to be too clever. Subject lines that try to be witty or use wordplay create confusion rather than curiosity. The reader spends a second trying to decode what it means, gives up, and moves on. Clarity always beats cleverness. If your subject line requires an explanation, rewrite it. Mistake number 3, giving away the pitch in the subject line. We help staffing firms connect with hiring managers, want to learn more, is a subject line that tells the recipient everything they need to know to make a decision before opening. And most of them will decide no without ever seeing your actual email. The subject line should create curiosity, not answer questions. The email body does the selling. The subject line just gets the door open. Mistake number 4, using the prospect's company name incorrectly. If your Apollo data has the company name as Acme Recruiting Pty Ltd, and that's what appears in the subject line, it looks like a template immediately. Make sure you clean your company name variable in Clay before your list goes anywhere near SmartLead. Strip those legal suffixes Pty Ltd, LLC, and anything similar to that. Mistake number 5, writing subject lines that are too long. Mobile inboxes cut subject lines off after roughly 40 characters. Desktop variables vary, but the same principle applies. Shorter is almost always better. If your subject line can't fit in 40 characters, it's too long. The best performing cold email subject lines are often 2 to 5 words. For example, quick question is 2 words. It outperforms 6-word alternatives consistently. If your subject line is longer than 40 characters, cut it. If it contains a benefit claim, rewrite it. If it sounds like it came from a marketing team, start from scratch. So, the subject lines I've used and how they've performed. The first campaign was for staffing and recruitment agencies. I was targeting founders and owners of staffing firms with 1 to 20 employees in the US. So subject line A was quick question first name, and subject line B was first name - quick question. Now both variants performed well. The campaign received a 22.5 positive reply rate basically across 4,600 emails that were sent. The subject line was one of the contributing factors alongside a clean infrastructure, a tight niche, and copy that removed the risk up front. The key thing these subject lines have in common is that they're short, personal, non-salesy, and create an open loop the reader wants to close. So how to test subject lines in SmartLead. SmartLead makes A/B testing very straightforward, and here's the process. Create your campaign as normal and write your email sequence. In the email editor for step 1, look for the A/B test option and add that second variant. Write your 2 subject line variants, keep everything else in the email body identical, so the subject line is the only variable you're testing. Simply set the split. A 50-50 split gives you clean comparative data. Some people run 70-30 to favor a hypothesis while still testing. Let it run for at least 500 emails before drawing conclusions. Small sample sizes produce unreliable results. Check the reply rate per variant in your campaign analytics. The variant with the higher reply rate is your winner. Pause the losing variant and run the rest of the campaign on the winner. Don't test more than one variable at a time. If you change both the subject line and the first line of the email body simultaneously, you don't know which change drove the difference. Test subject lines in isolation. So, the subject line framework. Before finalizing any subject line, run it through these 5 checks. Does it look like it came from a real person? If it looks like some marketing slop, rewrite it. Is it under 40 characters? If not, cut it. Does it contain any spam trigger words, anything like free, guaranteed, limited time, etc.? Remove any of those. Does it give away the pitch? If the prospect can make a buying decision from the subject line alone, you've said way too much. Does it create curiosity or open a loop? If it doesn't make someone want to know more, it won't get opened. If it passes all 5 of these, it's ready to test. So, subject line swipe file. Here are the subject lines that work for B2B cold outreach. These are the formats I use and test from. Take them, test them, and find what works for your niche. I won't go through all of these, but just briefly, you've got the direct question formats, the relevance formats, the neutral intro formats, and the follow-up formats. So use these as starting points, not as gospel. Your niche, your offer, and your audience will all influence what performs the best. Test 2 variants and let the data decide, and keep iterating upon it. So what this means for you. The subject line is the smallest piece of cold email and the most disproportionately important one. 2 to 5 words that look like they came from a real person consistently outperform elaborate, benefit-led marketing copy. Keep it short, keep it personal, don't give away the pitch, and create a reason for them to open it, not a reason for them to delete it. Always A/B test. Your instinct about what will work is a starting hypothesis. It's not a conclusion. Let the data be the final word. So I'm documenting everything here on my YouTube channel in real time, the campaigns, the copy, and the results. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.